a nationwide development for our tollway billing investigation.
If the state of Florida is not going to protect the consumer, then I'm going to try to.
U.S. senators are calling on the Federal Trade Commission to investigate the vendor contracted with the Texas Department of Transportation to operate the state's tollway system. In Texas and several other states, Conduent has faced complaints of inaccurate toll charges, mistaken late fees, and wrongful penalties. That criticism comes not only from Texas, but we've also discovered Michigan, California, New York, New Hampshire, Maryland, and Florida, where investigator Brittany Glass found lawmakers are pushing their state to cease ties with the company. That begs the question, what will Texas do now?
We've uncovered state records showing just a month after our investigation aired, the Texas Department of Transportation began seeking information for a possible future vendor to replace Conduent, which runs the TxTag system. TxDOT tells us it's now in the process of purchasing software that will be specifically tailored to run this system. But the software will take time to develop, so Conduent's contract with the state has been extended for 2 years. Now Texas lawmakers will have to decide, is that too long for drivers to suffer through more possible problems, and should they step in sooner? Lawmakers in Florida say enough is enough. Some are so unhappy with Conduent, it's even pushed the Florida Department of Transportation to suspend payments to Conduent, which operates the SunPass system there.
The vendor here told us that they could accomplish this, and they've utterly failed. So it's time now for FDOT to hold funds, charge penalties, hold them accountable, drag them into court, whatever needs to be done.
It is clear that these folks are not qualified to do this job, yet we have awarded them a gigantic contract even though they had a terrible track record. We should wipe the slate clean and start over.
We reached out to Conduent. Confidentiality agreements prevent them from saying much, but sometimes issues arise and they have the capability to resolve them. Back home, the problems drivers here have faced haven't been lost on TxDOT. We discovered since our investigation started, TxDOT has withheld more than $312,000 in payments to Conduent for not meeting the terms of its contract. And TxDOT says since the end of 2014, that amount's risen to $2.4 million. We'll, of course, continue following this story for you.
Thanks, Brittany. As we mentioned at the top of our report, Florida's U.S. Senator Bill Nelson and also Senator Gary Peters of Michigan, both members of the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, have sent the FTC a letter on this matter saying state DOTs are responsible for addressing harm to their citizens. However, they also believe there is a role for the FTC given Conduent's practices have directly burdened consumers. They suggest the company's mismanagement could be considered unfair under the FTC Act and that the Commission should explore whether Conduent is breaking the law. This is directly tied to what we've been investigating for the past year, something that saved drivers here from paying more than $1 billion in fines. We discovered a web of entities behind problems associated with billing errors here in Texas, one of which was Conduent. After we started digging, the state consolidated those entities, putting Conduent in charge of the bulk of the tollway system. That's something that still concerns lawmakers here, especially after learning what's happening around the nation with the company. State Representative Tony Dale of Cedar Park has a number of toll roads in his district. He says Conduent needs to be replaced. He tells KXAN the FTC will find what many Texas drivers already know, namely that customer service and accuracy in billing is sorely lacking.